Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening, and I'm Shelby Clark. Thank you for joining us for Primetime Local News. 4 more Saskatchewan residents have died of COVID-19, all from the Regina zone. There are 206 new cases, including 37 in the Northwest. 13 of those new cases are in the Northwest 2 subzone, which is the immediate Lloydminster area. There are 215 active cases in our subzone and 3,990 province-wide. 131 people are in hospital, including 7 in the Northwest. 20 people are in intensive care, 1 of those in the Northwest. 92 more people have recovered. We chat with the Lloydminster Fire Department for more tips on keeping safe and avoiding any incidents while staying home during the holidays. I'm speaking with the Lloydminster Assistant Fire Chief Bill Heesing. How are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good.
Awesome.
Now, of course, with the holidays coming up here and with COVID-19, a lot more families and friends will be staying inside. Can you give some good safety tips for residents staying home?
Okay, yeah, for sure. Christmas, again, with the COVID precautions and guidelines, is going to be a little bit different for families this year, but a lot of the same risks still exist in the home. People still want to do the best they can with, whether it's cooking or whether enjoying the tree. They still want to enjoy Christmas as the best way they can. So again, we can offer some of the safety tips that around this time of the year. So the one is the Christmas trees, right? That's the main thing. People like to enjoy that. Whether you use a live tree or a fake tree, plastic tree, it's good to know that when you put the lights on the tree, that the three series of lights, and make sure the lights are compatible. Make sure you're plugging them into a CSA approved power bar, that if something does go wrong, it'll trip out on you and be a safety aspect for that. If you have a live tree in your house, make sure you water it daily. It takes a little bit of water to keep those things alive and to enjoy them. A dried out tree can turn a fire in a room very quickly. It'll engulf a room in less than a minute. And there's lots of videos on that where you can Google Christmas fire trees, and the results are very devastating to see that. So it's key if you want to enjoy that live tree, but make sure you keep it watered. Make sure you enjoy it the best way you can to have a safe holiday season. So some of the other things are in the kitchen. People like to do their cooking and do their baking during the Christmas season. The main thing there is having what we call a kid-free zone around the stove. So through about 3 feet, the little people like to reach up and grab, open the stove to see the cookies that are cooking, or grab the pots off the stove. So making sure you're keeping your little ones away from the stove, keeping it safe in your kitchen. Some people cook with, oil and grease this time of the year, whether they're deep frying or whatever it is. And oil and grease fires are the leading cause of kitchen fires. And some of those reasons is when the grease does catch fire. And we did a little demo during Fire Prevention Week. The results, again, can be very devastating. If you throw a glass of water in a pan of grease that's on fire, the fire will spread very, very quickly. So again, smother it with a lid, a wet towel, a dish towel, turn the heat off, turn the power off, unplug it, whatever you can do to minimize it. But again, I want to emphasize, do not throw water on a grease fire. It'll be very damaging.
And when someone finds themselves in a tough situation, like in a fire, unfortunately, can you expand more on what they can do to get out safely from their home?
Yeah, absolutely. Practice your escape plan. Know where your meeting points are. Do not go back in. So if you leave your home, if your fire alarms are going off and you encounter smoke, or you see fire, get out, stay out, go to the neighbors. If you have little ones, make sure they know where the meeting place is, whether it's the tree in the backyard or the neighbor's garage, whatever it might be. But once you're out, stay out. Have the fire department, they're responding. They will do their job, making sure that you're safe. I want to emphasize, please call 911. That way the call gets processed a lot quicker through the 911 center in Lloydminster out through us, we can have the agencies responding, fire, police, ambulance, whatever needs to be to make sure our residents are safe. So again, I want to emphasize to please call 911 when these things do happen. So.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining me today, Bill.
Oh, thank you for having us. And again, from the Lloydminster Fire Department to our residents and the people we serve, proud to serve the community, and a very Merry Christmas and a safe holiday season, and all the best for 2021.
It is time now for this week's retrospect. Here is Blake Nath.
This week in retrospect. Back in '95, hundreds gathered at the Wild Rose Pavilion for the Christmas neighborhood supper.
About 350 people gathered in the Wild Rose Pavilion on the Lloydminster exhibition grounds last night for the Christmas neighborhood supper.
Christmas neighborhood supper is something that's really wonderful for the community. It's a community awareness that we just letting the community know that there is people out there that care.
The New Life Community Church, with donations from various businesses in Lloydminster, put on the supper as a way to celebrate the Christmas season as a community.
It's time for families to eat together and have a good meal.
People realize this is a place where they can get fellowship, they can get free food, and they enjoy themselves. Because I've seen people out here that I've never seen in my life. There's a good spirit, and you can feel it in here tonight.
I'm here tonight to have supper and to learn more about Jesus.
How many people really like something if it's given free, eh? And they wonder, is there a catch? Well, there's really no catch with this. It's just we want to serve the community.
And in 2000, Christmas sales at the Lloydminster Mall are on the rise.
Thanks. Merry Christmas.
'Tis the season to go shopping, and thousands of people are doing just that. Now, while the customers are buying, the merchants are counting the profits.
Sales overall actually have been very, very good. If you look at the center as a whole, we're up about 3% over last year.
An increase the manager of Smart Set, Bridget Glover, is happy about.
Actually, our sales this year have been absolutely phenomenal. It's been great. We've had a really, really good year. December has been an excellent month for us. We've done very well. So, yeah, sales are great this year.
Christmas sales are up this year, not necessarily because people are spending more money. It's just that more people are coming to the border city to do their Christmas shopping.
We targeted the rural community. We targeted as far away as North Battleford as well, but we did a big promotion that targeted specifically the rural community.
And that's it for this week in retrospect.
Retrospect this week is brought to you by Webb's Ford. Worth your while to drive the extra mile. Webb's Ford in Vermilion.
Welcome back. A local construction company has found a unique way to share the gift of giving this holiday season. Jace Mackey has more.
So I'm joined today with Trisha Hunter from BPC Services. Trisha, thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
Thanks for having us.
So we're talking about BPC Stronger Together, a campaign that you guys have launched a little while ago and it's still continuing on. Can you just tell me, first of all, a little bit about this campaign?
I can. 2020 was our 10th anniversary, and so we had big plans of hosting tournaments and fundraisers and supporting mental health and addictions in our community. And with everything that has changed over the last year, we were able to do Sober September, help with the men's shelter, we serve at the Olive Tree, and a few different opportunities there. We decided for Christmas, we would give the gift of giving. So we have purchased backpacks, and they are stuffed full of blankets, scarves, toques, two pairs of socks, juice boxes, granola bars, Clif bars, toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, all the things that somebody might need. And we are gifting them to our customers, our vendors, and our staff, asking them to pay it forward, to essentially carry that bag with them in their car until they see somebody in need, whether it be in Lloydminster, Bonnyville, Wainwright, Saskatoon, wherever they might be traveling for work or personal, and to gift it to somebody who might need it more than we do.
And you've also partnered with the men's shelters and the drop-in center for this campaign as well.
Yes. So we'll be sharing stories and statistics, working with them to create awareness. So part of the campaign is the backpack itself, and part of it is spreading awareness in our communities with how many people are actually in need. So as you're driving around, you may notice more than one person. Maybe it inspires people to do more backpacks up and spread further, or call me to get more dropped off to make sure everyone who needs one has one.
So can you tell me a little bit more about the backstory of why BPC decided to put this on this year?
Just looking for a way to gift our customers at Christmas time. There's different ways to spread holiday cheer, and we needed to get creative this year. Obviously, we're not going out to restaurants, and we just felt that buying even alcoholic beverages and dropping them off tends to be the way of the oil field and the construction industry, and it's not really who we are. And so we found a way to get our customers involved in the community if they're not already, and to find ways in their communities. We have various communities we're working in right now, and so it won't just be happening in Lloydminster. There's multiple communities that this will be rolled out in.
So is this going to be rolled out even after Christmas?
Absolutely. I think Christmas is a full season. I don't think it's a day. It's a season of giving. So we want to continue this on all the winter months, and then of course again in the fall when needed.
And what has the reaction been like with the people who have already received these backpacks, your customers, your vendors?
Everyone has been really engaged. I've called most of our customers ahead of time to explain what we're trying to do, just in case they're limited visitors into their offices. So we've kind of gone over the details over the phone before I show up, and it ends up being more than one person from each company that joins me and wants to hear the story again, and they're asking lots of questions and how to get involved. So we've opened that up and invited them to maybe add a personal touch in the bag. Maybe it's a Christmas card, maybe it's a note of inspiration, maybe it's something personal, however they feel.
And for people who are interested, I know you guys have been posting different on your social media of BPC. How can people follow along if they're interested to see kind of how this campaign is rolling out?
We're live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, all those different media sources where I'll be live on there and sharing lots of local stories.
And why do you think this campaign is important, especially this year?
I think it's important for people to look outside and see the economy is obviously not very strong right now. There's people that need things more than we do, and we're fortunate to have an office to come to every day, and we're fortunate to have a community that supports us. And so we wanted to find a way to support the community back.
And do you have anything else you'd like to add today?
No, just wish everyone a Merry Christmas.
All right, thank you so much, Tricia, for taking some time to talk with me today and spreading some awareness about this campaign that you guys are putting on.
Perfect, thank you.
Now here are your stock market prices for today.
Today's oil prices are brought to you by First General Services.
Announced their plan for the 2021 season. Jace Mackey joins me in breaking everything down before the January 13th start date.
Over the weekend, the NHL and NHL Players Association delivered an early Christmas present to hockey fans, and joining me to talk a little bit more about this is Evan Kenny. Evan, thanks for taking some time to talk with me today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jace.
So first of all, can you just give me a rundown of the NHL's plan for this season?
Yeah, so you did just touch on it there. The NHL and the NHLPA have agreed on what the 2020/21 season will look like. It will be 56 games played within only the division. So this year there will be 4 divisions composed of the North, the East, the Central, and the West. Each of those divisions will play all 56 games within their own division. For the teams in the East, the Central, and the West, they will each be playing 8 times against every team within their own division, while the North Division, which is also the Canadian division, will play each team 9 or 10 times as they go.
So last year, the bubble went very well. There's a bubble in Edmonton and Toronto. Are things going to be consistent with the bubble this year, or are they going to look different?
Yeah, no, there's no bubble going on this year, although that did work for the NHL playoffs. It was a much shorter time period. Obviously, there were 0 cases. So from a COVID perspective, the bubble is the best way to go. But from a player's perspective, it's just not viable. These players can't go, half a year without seeing their families, trapped inside of a hotel room and whatever else it may be. This year's playoffs will be looking quite a bit different. For the first 2 rounds, it will only be interdivisional play. So for those first 2 rounds, the top 4 teams from each division will make it. And from there, they'll go 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3. For the first 2 rounds, until you have a winner from each division. From there, they will be reseeded, number 1 through 4, based on how many points they got during the regular season, and then play in normal semifinals. So this year in the playoffs, A, there will be the divisional play, obviously, but B, we could also be seeing a team from the East, or rather 2 teams possibly from the East, or 2 teams from the West in the Stanley Cup Finals, which will definitely be a treat, and this is all expected to wrap up by mid-July. That way they can get next year's NHL season going by October, including, all the draft, all the free agency, everything like that over the summer.
And obviously, when the NHL returned to play last season, they were in a bubble. There was no fans in the stands. Can we expect to see fans in the stands this season?
For the most part, no, Jace. It's going to be similar to what we saw in the NFL throughout this year, where the league is giving the teams the option to say if they can have fans or not. So that also goes with each state or province's governments as well. As of right now, the Dallas Stars are the only team who have confirmed that they will have fans in their stands, obviously at a limited number. A couple other teams that could possibly be joining them are the Florida Panthers, who have expressed interest, and then also the Tampa Bay Lightning. Coming up this year in the NBA, the Toronto Raptors will be playing at the same arena that the Lightning will be playing at this year, and the Raptors are expected to have fans at their games, so one can only assume that Tampa Bay will also have fans at their games.
So I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. I know the divisions are all different, and it's still a lot of hockey to play. It hasn't even started a game yet, but who do you think is going to be taking home the Stanley Cup this year?
It's tough to say who will win the Stanley Cup. I mean, obviously, that's 56 games plus 16 more wins that teams need to win that cup. And that's a long ways away. Who knows with injuries and whatnot. I don't know if I can say who will win the cup, but I can give you who I think will win each division. For the North/Canadian division, I am a little biased being, close to Edmonton, but I do think the Oilers are going to take that one. For the West, I think you have to go with Colorado. I mean, Nathan MacKinnon is one of the best players in the world, and Colorado has such a deep lineup. It's tough there, but Vegas does give them a run for their money in that division. From the Central, and it's weird calling them a Central Division team, but the Tampa Bay Lightning, obviously returning, defending Stanley Cup champions, it's tough to bet against them. Plus, although they are in cap issues, they still are a great team. And then finally, from the East, a team who is really coming on strong in the end, the Philadelphia Flyers. They got a young defense and really just a young team overall. Plus, they have a good mix of grit and skill. So I could see Philadelphia winning that division this year.
All right, Evan, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us. World Juniors are coming up. Now we know hockey's coming for sure and how everything will work. Thanks again for taking some time to talk with me today.
Yeah, thank you, Jace. Taking another look now at your evening temperatures. Currently -5 degrees here in Lloydminster, -4 up in Cold Lake, as well as in Athabasca and over in Jasper, -4 also down in Red Deer, -3 in Edson and Whitecourt, -2 in Edmonton and in Rocky Mountain House. If we move over now to the Saskatchewan side here, -7 in Saskatoon, as well as in Prince Albert and Meadow Lake, -4 in North Battleford and -9 over in Melfort. If we look now at the northern parts of each region, we got some warm areas like that -4 down in Grand Prairie, but also some pretty chilly ones, -25 up in High Level and -26 in Fort Chipewyan. If we move over to the Saskatchewan side here, very similar way up north, -23 up in Stony Rapids. And then you got some like -12 down in Flin Flon, but that's not where we see the problems in each province. It's in the southern regions here. You might think the 0 degree, the -1 degree all look nice, but there is a snowfall and a winter snow warning coming for most of southern Saskatchewan, most of southern Alberta, as well as southern BC and southern Manitoba. 0 degrees in Lethbridge, 2 degrees in Medicine Hat, -1 over in Calgary. If you take a look now at some of these national temperatures, it is 4 degrees in Vancouver with a little bit of rain. They're currently -12 up in Whitehorse, -27 over in Yellowknife. As we move more central in Canada, -10 in Winnipeg, 4 degrees in Toronto, 0 in Quebec City, 2 degrees in St. John's, 8 degrees in Halifax, and -7 over in Iqaluit. If we look at some of tomorrow's temperatures here, -9 in Lloydminster as well, -9 in Maidstone, -10 over in North Battleford, -11 in St. Walburg, Meadow Lake, and in Green Lake, all with a good chance they could see some snow throughout the day. -8 degrees in Provost as well as in Wainwright and Vermilion, -10 in Marwayne and in Vegreville, -11 in Bonnyville and in Cold Lake. Taking a look now at your 7-day forecast, as you see there, 50% chance you could see some flurries tomorrow before -10 on Wednesday, 2 degrees on Thursday as things are starting to warm up for Christmas there, -5 on Friday before -9, -10 and -8 on Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Those days will be nice and sunny though. That's all we have for the weather for now. We'll be back after the break with more news.
I'm joined here with Todd Robinson, and he's the Director of Education with the Lloydminster Public School Division. Now, this year has obviously presented challenges and many difficulties, but what are some of the highlights for the division this year?
Yeah, as I think back on the 2020 year, it's been an interesting year for sure. Something we could have never predicted with the pandemic starting in early March and the impact that's had on education. So when I think about what's really cool about this year, the first thing that comes to mind is back in June when we used a unique approach to graduation, reshaped graduation. We had over 300 kids take part in a drive-through graduation ceremony at both Avery and LCHS. And I was so proud of our students. It was so awesome to be able to recognize that event with our families. And our school staff just did an absolutely exemplary job of hosting those events and making it memorable and special for our kids, because it is a really, really significant milestone in the lives of those children and families. So that's the first thing. Secondly, I think we started this year in the pandemic, and so getting our reopening plan off the ground, the cooperation we had from families and staff to kind of get things organized and moving forward, just can't say enough how much that meant to us as an organization and how much we appreciated that support. Thirdly, I would say, we've had a really cool announcement around a capital project at LCHS that's going to reshape that school. It's going to reshape delivery in our system as a whole and allow us to relocate our grade 9s to the comprehensive high school starting in September 23. So that was pretty exciting. So, you know what? It's been a challenging year, but there's always some really cool things that happen in a school year. And those are some things that come to mind for me.
How have you seen teachers and other staff in LPSD adjust to these changes?
I would just say unbelievably well. I just can't say enough about the resiliency that I've seen from our staff and our students. As you know, as the community knows, the direction around how to respond to the pandemic has sometimes changed on a dime, and we've had to pivot and do things differently. We've had groups of students and staff that have had to isolate. It hasn't been without challenge. It hasn't been without sacrifice on the part of our staff and their families. But at the end of the day, we're in a good spot. People have done an exemplary job, and I just could not be more proud of them. And we look forward to continuing to work with them and working with our families going forward. And I'm sure there'll be challenges ahead. But we have got an amazing team in Lloydminster Public School Division, a team that I just simply couldn't be more proud of.
What are some of the improvements that you've seen in school this year that have maybe carried on from years past?
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go back to June and talk a little bit about the key metrics that we follow on our system and the reports that come out around how our students are doing. So in June, once again, Lloydminster Public School Division students are doing amazingly well on the key measures around reading at grade 3. We continue to have a higher percentage of students reading at grade 3 than the majority of the province. Our graduation rate continued to improve last year, and we're near the top of the province in that regard. So in that way, those are huge celebrations from a school system. That's our core business. Other things I've seen is just, commitment to work together and cooperate and problem solve in a year that's really difficult. We've always been really good at that in our system, but I would say we've even upped that a notch this year, which is really, really amazing. And then the other thing that's, a really interesting takeaway is I've noticed just the cooperation from our kids. Our students have been absolutely amazing this year. We've had very little issues with regards to significant behavior. They've been very cooperative, very respectful. Not that we always don't have great kids, but I think they've recognized that we're navigating a difficult time right now, and they've been key players in helping us be successful.
And speaking of students, to see that they get involved in community initiatives and other community projects, what is it like for you to see that involvement in them?
Well, that's one of the best parts of the job. That's what I would say about that. I would say it warms my heart. I think basically in education, what we're here for is to give kids basic skills and equip them to be high functioning citizens in our community and our country. And I see just multiple pieces of evidence across Lloydminster Public School Division where kids are contributing to the greater good in our community, serving those that are vulnerable, contributing and trying to make things better in the lives and experiences for not only other children, but some of our seniors in the community, just some of the service that's given back to them, supporting neighborhoods around schools, shoveling snow, doing all that sort of stuff. I mean, these are things that are just absolutely amazing. They're led by teachers that are committed and plugged into the ideals about what education's all about. And so, yeah, for me in my chair, I get to see all of that. And that is absolutely the best part of the job and something that we really are proud of in Lloydminster Public School Division.
And looking ahead, what are you hoping to accomplish in this school year and next school years across the division?
I think as I look ahead over the next year, I see two different phases to the year. I think I see a phase from now till June, which is still going to be very much impacted by the pandemic as we wait for a vaccine and navigate, what seems to be a difficult context right now around infection rates in our community. And so for me right now, the focus is around wellness for our staff and wellness for our kids, making sure that we've got supports for mental health, that we've got people available to support the needs that present themselves, that we really focus on gratitude and support for each other as colleagues. And then as we navigate through the pandemic, it'll be a focus on instituting a new education plan in the province of Saskatchewan that will guide education for the next 10 years. And I think as an organization, we'll have an opportunity to rethink our mission and our vision and our values and make sure that those are aligned and really hear from our community and our staff and our kids about what Lloyd Public should be all about for the next 10 years as we move forward. So I think those are kind of what I see going ahead, Jasmine, as being key initiatives and key parts of our programming and our work over the next 8 to 10 months.
And is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, just I would say the one thing that maybe I haven't had a chance to say is how thankful we are to our parents and our community. Our community continues to support our schools in powerful ways, giving back to us and supporting us in the work that we're doing. And parents, just thank you so much for your flexibility, your understanding, and your patience as we've navigated a tricky time in education. But we couldn't do it without you, and we're very thankful for that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Todd.
No, thank you for the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
I'm joined here with City of Cold Lake Mayor Craig Copeland. Now, this year has obviously presented difficulties with the COVID-19 pandemic. How has the City of Cold Lake adjusted?
Well, it's certainly the COVID has impacted everybody, right? Whether you're a business owner, the kids in school, mom and dad just focusing now, okay, who's going to stay home with the kids? But, in terms of the municipality, our position's been since day one is just to follow the chief medical officer's advice and her direction. And right away, our community actually worked right away with Alberta Health Services. The nurses, community health, were actually swabbing people out in the parking lot outside their building. And And, our CIO and staff looked at that and went, I think we can do better than that. We offered the North Hockey Arena. So we turned over the hockey rink into a swabbing center, outfitted it the way they wanted it. And actually was really successful spring and into the summer. And then as COVID, of course, wasn't going away, we then moved them to the Agriplex. And the Ag Society was really gracious to allow the nurses to go in there as the 811 swabbing site. And so, our role is being there to assist the local health professionals in anything they need. That really, and same with at the hospital with the docs over there and the hospital manager, whatever they need, the city's here to assist them.
And there hasn't been all negatives this year, like we mentioned. So what has been some positives for the city?
Well, the positives, I think right now you're starting to see just south of town here is a gas pipeline that's going in by TC Energy, and they got all contractors in the community. They're staying at hotels, mostly doing takeout food for the restaurants. But you're talking of a couple hundred people in town, which is filling up the rooms. Our hotels were empty all summer long, except for we got a lot of tourist traffic over the summer. I mean, that was kind of interesting this summer, how many people came to Cold Lake and as a tourist. And we were getting people from all over southern Alberta coming up and going, wow, didn't realize that this lake is so beautiful and that. And with our bike park that we've put in place with the society that's running it, a lot of people are just coming up and exploring Cold Lake and really seeing all that there is to offer. And then there's a big announcement by the federal government with investing on the air base finally. They're going to be knocking down the old hangars and building up this big, huge office building for the men and women out there. And so, about $500 million worth of construction is going to be going on the base, probably from about 2022 to 25 will be the big focus. But they'll be ramping up now, and that's going to be really exciting. I think the federal government spending is really going to put Cold Lake, it's a leading community growing in the next few years over those that are tied to resources, right, which is tough right now. But you know what, like inside Cold Lake, we're really excited about the pipeline to the ocean, Trans Mountain Pipe. We've got, that's going to really allow northeastern Alberta to start moving oil to the ocean. Hopefully Keystone will with the new change of the president, won't be impacted. The Keystone and Line 3, well, those ones are really going to be key for the heavy crude up in our area. I think it's been exciting. I think things are going to start to move. Once we get over this COVID, I really think we're going to see a big growth phase up in the Northeast.
And this year we've seen a huge push for support of local businesses. So how have the residents of Cold Lake been with supporting them this year?
Well, there's unfortunately on the internet, you can do a lot of internet shopping, but you can really see people are trying to support the local businesses as much as they can. And there's a lot of groups reaching out and sort of marketing and saying, hey, this home business is available, or you can shop at this business here for this product. And so people are trying their best to shop local. I mean, you see our downtown and our malls. I mean, it's pretty busy. And really is there a pandemic going on? But people are doing a really good job. They're being responsible. They're wearing a mask. When they're very close with people, they're wearing masks. And people are very aware of the situation with the COVID. And I think everybody, whether you're coming into Cold Lake to shop or you're a Cold Lake resident, I think everybody deserves a lot of credit. They're really stepping forward and doing their part.
And with the finalization of ID 349, what is the city's reaction on this finally moving forward?
Well, this is a huge closure on the file. I mean, this has been a long-lasting. I just want to recognize that MLA David Hanson and the Minister Allard. They both deserve a ton of credit. The MD of Bonneville Council were there as a major partner, and we all four municipalities work together for a vision for the future. And so for the city itself, it's going to allow councils to now really put some money away in terms of putting it in towards the infrastructure, recreation, fixing the projects. It's a helping hand. That's how I describe it. Cold Lake relies about $21 million from residents' taxes and from the business community. And this money from the industrial taxes coming into an urban community is going to be that helping hand that's really going to give us the ability to really invest in our community. And it's, everybody that was involved did a great job. And certainly the minister and the MLA Hanson pushing it over the end was the big key in everything.
And next year, council is forecasting a 0% tax increase. So what does that mean to you to be able to offer that to residents?
Well, it was pretty much a no-brainer that, doing a tax increase in this environment wasn't going to be a popular thing. But certainly what we've done is the staff have done a great job on conserving the 2020 budget. We have some money available for 2020. We're bringing it over to 2021, and we're plowing into capital projects. Like, we're going hard with our capital. What we're trying to do is do a wide range of projects so that a lot of companies, local companies, have an opportunity to do, $500,000, $1 million, $2 million contracts, and try to spread the love around and keep people floating. And so people are going to see a lot of work getting done in Cold Lake. There's some big projects, Lakeshore Drive, which is from the marina up to the Freedom Ridge condos. That whole bank is kind of falling into the water. We've got to come in and fix the undergrounds there. So that's a really exciting project, long overdue. And of course, the big one in Cold Lake is the wastewater treatment plant, a brand new one. Nobody wants to talk about when you flush your toilet what happens, but that one's a long overdue project, and council's putting some serious money behind that one. Probably gonna we are going up for design, of course, on that project, but you probably won't see construction for that until the following year, 2022. But we've positioned money for projects. That's what we do with our cash, is also position money in reserves for projects so that we can come in and pay cash for projects.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Mayor Copeland.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks again for joining us for Primetime Local News. You can catch us in the next hour on CITL.